Fourth grade lesson 2.2 is comparison problems, and all this is going to do is take what you learned in lesson 2.1 and add a little bit more complexity to it, or a little bit more of a challenge, give you a chance to practice that skill in a word problem form a little bit more, put it into action. As with anything else, it's going to start off feeling challenging and difficult, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, and you'll be telling me, this is easy, when we're done. Hopefully. I expect so. If not, I will practice with you some more and help make it feel easy, so don't you worry. Okay, so let's start off with our first practice problem and see how this works out. So our essential question is, how does a model help you solve a comparison problem? Model being like a drawing, right? And we've been using the drawing, step 4 of Mrs. Sanchez's handy-dandy list of steps to solve word problems. We've been doing the drawing. It helps our brains understand what's happening. And so we're going to continue using that. A model or a drawing helps us make sense of the information. Here we have a word problem. And step 1, Mrs. Sanchez's handy-dandy guide to solving word problems is to read it. So let's read it. Evan's dog weighs 7 times as much as Oksana's dog. Together, the dogs weigh 72 pounds. How much does Evan's dog weigh? All right, we're going to underline the question, and then we're going to circle the information they gave us. We know that Evan's dog is 7 times as much, so it is more than Oksana's dog. 7 times as much as Oksana's dog. We don't see the information on Oksana's dog, right? That is an unknown. It's the smaller one, right? Because we know that Evan's dog is 7 times more, so it's heavier. So I'll just point to this little guy, and we'll call him N. We don't know, okay? But all together, the dogs weigh 70 pounds. So if you add the little dog's weight plus the big dog's weight, it totals to 72 pounds, okay? So we decided to use the variable N to represent Oksana's little baby dog. So we're going to put Oksana's dog as N. And we know that Evan's dog is 7 times more than Oksana's dog. So we're going to put N 7 times over. Okay, so here we have 7 times N. But remember, we're still going to be including 1 times N for Oksana's dog, because all together they weighed 72. So we have 7 times N for Evan's dog and 1 times N for Oksana's dog. That is 8 N's when you put them all together. If you add all those together, that total 72 all together, because together the dogs weighed 72. So we need the 7 from Evan's and the 1 from Oksana's, and that's going to give us 8 times that unknown amount, N, equals 72. Now, this is where I have mentioned before that knowing your multiplication facts makes everything we do ahead in math much easier, because a lot of you may be thinking, oh, well, I know 8 times what number equals 72. And you know it in your head because you have those memorized. But some of you don't, and that's okay, but that's something we're going to want to work on, because that will make math much easier for you every year from here on out, is to get those memorized. That's why that's part of your homework every day, 10 minutes to practice, because I would like for you to have them memorized and be able to look at this and go, I know what that number is. I'm the detective, and I know it right now. Until it's memorized, use the multiplication chart. Let's have a look at how we would use that. So until your multiplication facts are memorized, use a chart to solve this. I'll show you how. So I have 8 times some unknown number. And remember, multiplication facts are just counting by numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 is counting by 2s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 is counting by 3s. I am counting by 8, however many times I need to, until I reach 72. So I'll go to 8, and I'll count by 8. However many times I need to, until I reach 72. There it is. How many times did that take? It took 9. So N must equal 9. And those of you who have their multiplication facts memorized, you knew that 8 times 9 equaled 72 because it's memorized in your brain. You have this already stuck in your brain. It does make it easier. So everybody who doesn't have that memorized, all your multiplication facts to 10. Be sure you continue working on that. I promise you, it will make math easier for you all the way through. So the value of n is 9. N is how much Oksana's dog weighs. Oops, I need a pen. Okay. Oksana's dog weighs. And now we can find out how much Evan's dog weighs, because we know that Evan's dog is 7 times more than Oksana's, and we now know that Oksana's dog weighs 9 pounds. So I would multiply 7 times the amount of Oksana's dog, 7 times 9. Again, if we don't have our multiplication facts memorized, I can use this and go down the 7 row 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7 times 9 is 63. If you had that memorized, that was much faster. You just wrote it down already. So we learned that Evan's dog weighs 63 pounds. So it was something that took multiple steps to do. We couldn't just solve it in one step, right? We first had to figure out, we had to break down how much total the 72 pounds were, but we had the information to do it, to solve that puzzle. And then once we figured out the unknown value, we could know Oksana's dog's weight and Evan's dog's weight. So we had to back up with the new information and then solve that. And that's what you're going to see in this lesson. This next question is a continuation of the previous one. We still have Oksana's dog and we still have Evan's dog. Only now we remember that the information we gained from our last puzzle was that Oksana's dog weighed 9 pounds and Evan's dog was a whopping 63 pounds heavy dog. To find out how many times as much, we used a multiplication model. But to find out how many more or fewer, like we did in lesson 1.8, more or fewer, the difference between them was addition or subtraction, and difference was technically subtraction, right? So how does this look in those terms? So we have Evan's dog weighing 63 pounds here, and here, and Oksana's dog weighs 9 pounds. How much more does Evan's dog weigh than Oksana's dog? So we have Evan's dog, which we know is 63 pounds. And Oksana's dog weighs 9 pounds. How much more, what is this unknown amount for the difference between them? N. That's our unknown, right? Let's give it a variable, a letter, so that we know that we're trying to solve it. So we're going to take this whole amount, 63, of Evan's dog, and we're going to cut out the amount that we know Oksana's dog weighs, because we're looking for this part. And so if we take the whole amount and we cut out the 9 that we already know, that is going to leave us with that unknown value that's left. And so here is our subtraction problem. If we wanted to know how much more Evan's dog weighs than Oksana's dog, we can do 63 minus 9. And obviously we don't have 63 fingers, so we could just do the algorithm that we've been using, 63 minus 9. And of course 3, if we have 3, we can't take 9 away, so we borrow 13 minus 9. Remember, you can count from 9 up to 13. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It took me 4 counts to get there. And 5 minus nothing is 5. So that is 54. So the value of n, our unknown in this case, is the difference between their weight is 54. N is how much more Evan's dog weighs. So Evan's dog weighs 54 pounds more than Oksana's dog. So don't forget what you've already learned, more than or less than or fewer than or greater than. Those are comparison problems where you're using subtraction because you're finding the difference between them. You're finding this was the whole amount. I'm cutting out some of the one I'm comparing it to find out what is left. Okay, it's probably a little bit making sense, but still a little foggy. Practice helps a lot. Let's look at another problem. This is on page 52. Maria's dog weighs 6 times as much as her rabbit. Together, the pets weigh 56 pounds. What does Maria's dog weigh? So we did step 1, we read it. Let's underline the question. What does Maria's dog weigh? We don't know yet. We know that it's 6 times as much as the rabbit. The dog is 6 times more. We already have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. We'll put dog here. The rabbit is 1 time and compared to that 6. And we know that all together they weigh 56 pounds. So here though, we still have an unknown part. We don't know how much that rabbit weighs. If we knew how much the rabbit weighs, then we would just multiply it by 6 to find out how much the dog weighs. We just don't know. And what do we do when we don't know? We just call it a letter. We give it a variable. And we'll use n, since it looks like they've used n for that unknown number there, so we'll use it as well. So the rabbit weighs n pounds, an unknown number, and the dog weighs 6 times that amount, so 6 n's across here. And all together there's the 6 plus the 1 from the rabbit. When you add them all together, that's 7 n's, right? That equals 56. That's all the information they gave us drawn out. There's 6 times as much, but we also have to include the rabbit because together, that is a key word, together the pets weigh 56. So that's 6 plus 1 more is 7. 7 times n, 7 n's, will equal 56 is what we've learned. All right, so we can figure this out and detective this if we know our multiplication facts. We know already what that is, right? If you don't worry, you have the tools available. Let's pull that up. Okay, here we'll use the multiplication chart. Again, something that you're going to want to eventually not have to need. You're going to want this in your brain at some point. Keep working on that, because this would have been really quick if you had that memorized. It's okay though, we have the tools. So 7 times something, we're going to count by 7s until we reach 56, and that will tell us what that unknown number is. So going down the 7 row until we reach 56, there it is. It took us 8 times. So n has got to be 8, because 7 times 8 equals 56. Either that was memorized in your head already, or you just went down the 7 row until you figured out how much it was. We're going to multiply to find out how much Maria's dog weighs. It's 8 times 6, because remember, now we know that n equals 8, right? We just learned that right here. So the rabbit weighs 8 pounds. That's the little abbreviation for pounds. Now we're going to do how much the dog weighs. It's 6 times the 8. So we will do 6 times the 8. Commutative property says I can do that in either order. So I can go down the 8 row 6 times to here, or I could go down the 6 row 8 times to there. You're going to end up with the same value because multiplication is commutative, yes. So let's go down the 8 row 6 times. 8 row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The answer is 48. So the dog weighs 48 pounds. Drawing this out really makes a difference in helping us understand what's happening. All right, here is your chance to try it. Pause the video and try it. This gives you the chance to see where you get stuck. So go through your steps, read it, underline the question, circle the information you're given, draw out the model, and see if you can figure out what your equation is and how you're going to solve it. Go ahead and try it. You may get stuck in there, and that's what I'm here for. You can unpause the video when you get stuck, and I will help you out. Go ahead. Okay, so here is our scenario. Last month, Kim trained 3 times as many dogs as cats. If the total number of cats and dogs she trained last month is 28, how many cats did Kim train? Okay, let's underline the question. How many cats did Kim train? That's what I ultimately want to find out. Circle the information. We have she trained 3 times as many dogs as cats. And the total amount of cats and dogs she trained was 28. Okay, we have cats and we have dogs. All right. She did 3 times as many dogs as cats. So we'll do a box with 3 times as many and then 1 box to represent the cats. Okay. And all together, it was 28. Now, if that's the part you got stuck and you want to try and go without me, again, push pause again, and then play if you get stuck again. Okay, so here we are with our model. She did cats, but she did 3 times as many dogs. So I did 3 boxes for dogs, 1 box for cats. I do not know the values that go in here, so I'm just going to put a variable n. That means that 4 n's put together equals 28. So if I take 4 and multiply by n, that unknown number, it will equal 28. If you have your 4's memorized, you already know what that unknown value is. If you don't, here's some help. We're going to go down the 4 row until we get to 28. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, ding, 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 winna, winna, chicken dinner. It took us 7 times. So 4 times 7 equals 28. 7 was that unknown number. And the question was, we always need to go back to the question because we need to make sure we're answering what they asked us. How many cats did Kim train? Cats is here. It was 7. She trained 7 cats. Okay, you probably got stuck in there somewhere and that's okay. Let's see if you get further on the next one. Go ahead and pause the video and try that one. Play when you get stuck. All right, how many more dogs than cats did Kim train? Draw a model. All right, so we had the amount of dogs and the amount of cats. We kind of have that model there already, right? So we'll go ahead and just redraw it here. Dogs was this much, and we know it was 21. It was 7 plus 7 plus 7, 21 total. And cats, she did 7, right? And the question they're asking me is, how much more dogs did she train than cats? We're looking for this unknown amount, the difference between them. So if I take this 21, the 7 plus 7 plus 7, or 7 times 3, which is 21, and I cut out the 7 that she trained in cats, that will leave me with what's left. So I'm going to take that 21, and I'm going to subtract from it the 7 to find the difference between them here, and that's going to equal, well, let's do the calculation, 21 minus 7. And some of you are looking at it going, Miss Sanchez, all I needed to do was I could see that there's these 2 7s more. 7 plus 7 is 14. Your answer is going to be 14. And you're right. There's multiple pathways to get there, right? Good job recognizing that. If you didn't recognize that, that's not a problem. You're on the right path doing it this way. 1 subtract 7. You guys are really good at this now. 1 subtract 7 cannot be done. So I will borrow 11 minus 7. Well, I don't have 11 fingers, so I'm going to start at 7 and count to 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That took me 4 fingers to get there. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So 14 is my answer. So she trained 14 more dogs. She trained 14 more dogs than cats. And that's how you do those. You'll get a lot of practice with this. This may be something that you need more time with me practicing, and that's okay. We'll do that in class before you go on Think Central. But if you're feeling like you've got this and you can tackle this on Think Central, then we can go straight onto it. You let me know.